where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. Thank you so much for your support, as always. Today, we're talking about social media and the consequences that happen just from being on social media and actually what we do with social media. There's a lot of people who are content creators, social media influencers, and they do not take the responsibility of having a platform seriously. They they do things that they really shouldn't do. There's certain things that you need to keep off social media. And I'm going to talk about a few of those things. Being a content creator, I know I'm not perfect and I'm not saying anybody is, but there's certain things that you should not put on social media. Hey Charlene, how are you doing? Welcome. There's certain things that we most definitely should not put on social media, and I believe 100% that your relationship issues, if you're going through something with your spouse, significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, you do not need to bring that to social media. There's certain things that you need to keep to yourself. That's your own personal business, and don't involve people in it. And one of the consequences of people putting their personal romantic relationship on social media is people are going to say things that will be very rude, very disrespectful, things that we don't like. And the thing to help that is to just not do it. Just don't do it. Don't post anything on social media that you do not want to anybody to comment on, whether it's your romantic relationship. And this is another thing that some people may think is a little controversial, but I don't think that putting children on social media, there's a lot of predators, there's a lot of weirdos, and you have to really be careful about what you share about your kids. You have to be careful about oversharing, like where your kids go to school and things like that. Oh, awesome, Charlene. I hope you have a good time. You have to be very careful about what you put on social media. Hi, Anywhere. You have to be careful about what you put on social media, and you have to be careful about what you trust. Hi, Goon Money. How are you doing? You really have to be careful when it comes to social media. And I learned the hard way by, I think, oversharing some things, because not everybody actually cares. Some people are in on social media to be hurtful, to be rude. Yeah, hi to you, Goon Money. I hope you're doing great. And everybody who's in the chat, I hope you guys had an awesome Thursday. And that's something that I personally had to learn that. And there's a lot of people who are on social media that, you live and you learn. There's certain things that I will never post on social media again, but that's just me. To each his or her own. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I would never ever again post my relationship stuff. I will never post any young children that's in my family. I'm not doing that because of some things that I've seen, and I can't unsee things because I know that there's weirdos that will take your child's head and put it on these, what do you call it, porn sites. Mm-mm. So you really have to be careful about what you put on social media because it comes with consequences. And I also see people post whatever. If you want to have your fun hanging out, dancing and twerking and all that stuff, but you're also a professional, a business person, you got to be careful because that thing follows you to your job. You could wind up losing your job. You could lose respect, and it could start things within your family, sharing personal and private things, um, and relatives just don't understand those things. You can bring lasting damage. There's a lot of consequences. Charlene says, you really do have to be careful. I see that. Yeah. And I learned the hard way because I've been on social media since 2012, maybe 11, around 2011, 2012. And there's been a lot of changes since 2011 on this particular app. There are a lot of things that was like no standards. Now there's a lot of different standards. There's a lot of consequences, and you just can't put up anything that you want to. There's consequences that come with it. And we all know the people who come on social media and they're just miserable and angry, right? The trolls, the negative people, the angry people, the drama people, even your weird and strange exes trying to check what you're doing, or people who are very thirsty trying to thirst trap in your DMs, in your comment section, emailing you all sorts of pictures of their private parts. It's weirdos on social media. But with everything, you have to be very careful about oversharing, and especially to the content creators that do vlogs, be very careful about sharing, your address, your phone number. Is certain things that I know people would say, duh, of course I know that. But sometimes we got some young content creators, even some children, and they don't know those things. So don't post your address, don't post your phone number, and be very careful about who you trust with your personal and private information. Hi, Charles, how are you doing? You have to be so careful, because if you ever fall out with people on social media, now they know where you live, they know your phone number, and I've actually seen people dox other people, share where they work, share their home address, share their phone number, post it on social media, all because now they've fallen out, they don't get along. And even say exes, people who were dating or married or whatever, and then they fall out, and now there's the back and forth talking about so many different things. So that's one of the things that we really have to be careful for. Am good. You're from Kenya. Oh, welcome, Charles. Anywhere says, what's your opinion on Ice Spice? She's a rapper and she uploads pics, reels, twerking, showing her butt. The whole thing about it is, I always say, to each his or her own. Whatever, that's the kind of attention that she wants. And some people come on social media to get the attention, or they just want the entertainment. That's how some people make their money. But I always say, you got to know what you want to do. As for me, there is no way, no how, never. But I can't tell another person what to do. But you got to think, if you ever want to go in another direction, become a professional and do things, these things follow you. Maybe a younger person, when they start off on social media, maybe you would be doing all kinds of things, showing too much skin or doing some things that you think is funny and cute. But when you get older, you become a professional, maybe you own a business, they may look back on your social media presence, and it may harm you in the long run. So, it's just a heads up. Just wanted to say this, I would say I'm a seasoned content creator, because I've been on social media over 10 years and I've seen a lot. I've seen people fall out, and then one person makes videos and does lives talking about the other person, and then all these people come in to see the negativity and the drama, and then that person makes another video. It just gets out of control. The same thing with people sharing their kids. Like I always say, to each his or own. I can't tell nobody what to do, but I just think you don't know who's on the other side of an avatar. You don't know who other people are, and you don't know what people can do with your videos. Download them, cut and paste, and put them on one of these sites that's very unsavory. So, got to be careful about what you do, because everything comes with consequences. And I know, as for me, I use my platform to talk about conversations about real topics, This channel really, I talk about abuse. I talk about, I just did an interview with Sugar Love, and she was talking about nursing home abuse. I talk about all kinds of abuse, sexual abuse, all forms of abuse, but also things that I wish that I had known when I was younger. I talk about those things that maybe somebody who is younger, inexperienced, that has never been through catfishing, things like that. You got to be careful because not everybody who says that they are who they are, especially on trying to date somebody over these dating apps and things like that. You don't know who is that person behind that avatar. They can tell you all they want to, and it could be your same sex. It could be somebody who's already married, and be very careful about giving your money out to somebody that you don't know. I hear about all of these schemes, people asking for money and people thinking they're in love, they're getting married, and that person is already married, or that's the same sex until, you know, I've seen it on all of these shows. So just spreading some awareness today. Be careful what you post on social media. Be careful who you trust, because I've seen people sending people money and people are, and none of it is true. They're talking about they need help desperately and they don't even need any help. It's just a scheme because they don't want to work. Some people are just lazy. They come on to social media and they beg for money because they don't want to work, they're lazy, or whatever situation. I'm not saying all the time because I'm not a person to judge. People, anybody can get into a situation, lose their job, get sick. That's a whole different situation. Anywhere it says, yeah, you're right. Really great channel. I am subscribing to you for real. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I did want to say this to everybody, be careful who you trust. Just because you follow somebody on social media, it does not mean that that's the real person. They could be making up a whole character to get views. I've seen people just do the things that's trending or copycat other people, copy people's content word for word, and then they don't give credit to the original creator. And I've been there and done that. It's very hurtful and rude, but there are some things that we can do as content creators. Report them. If you see another content creator using the idea of somebody else, report that, because that's the only way that something can happen about it. So thanks guys for tuning in. I'm not going to be here much longer. I just wanted to say hi and to cover this topic because I get so tired of seeing so much negativity, drama, lies, doxing, people begging for money, just people catfishing people. I've actually seen people go live on social media saying, cash at me some money, and like literally seeing hundreds of people in their chat sending them money because they make up this sob story. It's sad. I'll never do those type of things because I always say what goes around comes around. You make up those lies, one day you're really going to be in need and you will not be able to get that help. I'm just saying. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Shout out to all of my amazing mods. I appreciate every single one of you, and I most definitely will tap in tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. This is the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, hit the like, subscribe, do all of those YouTube things, and yeah, be careful on social media. Not everybody is who you think they are. I'll tap in tomorrow. Peace.